Welcome, time for some art fun. Today, we're gonna get our brushes into this beautiful Sui Gouache Set. Earlier this week, I did an unboxing video, and one of the many supplies that I unboxed were these beautiful Sui Gouache paints. So there is an unboxing for that. There is a swatch session for that I also recently posted. If you want to go into the description, you can see the links for both of those videos, and you can pause this and go watch those first if you want, or you can finish watching this video with this test painting with these new supplies and just go watch those other videos another time. But this video is intended to be able to stand on its own, and you can just watch this video and know everything you need to know, or at least everything that I know about these paints. This here is the color mixing chart that I'm just putting away. That comes with this set, along with a color chart that has dashes. When I showed that to you at the very beginning, it also had dots above the dashes. I actually painted those dots in my swatch video. And now what I'm doing is painting on a black gessoed surface. So this is my usual swatch book, which is an Arteza square sketchbook with cold pressed paper. And I'm just swatching out all 12 of these 7.5 milliliter colors on the black gesso, along with some mixing with white that I'll do at the end. This gouache set comes from an illustrator, an artist named Sui. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but she is on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel that I'm linking in the description below, and you can watch her paint. She is Korean, and she speaks Korean in her videos. Her paintings are gorgeous. Her music is wonderful. I actually really am enjoying her channel, and I only ever heard of it because of being recommended these gouache paints by one of my subscribers, and I'll talk about that more later. But she says that this is supposed to put you in a fairy tale mood, and that these are her favorite colors to paint with. And that's why she made this set. It is supposed to be professional grade. It was $43 on Amazon when I got it. And I put all the information that I have about the pigments in the description for you below. But I think this is an absolutely gorgeous set, and I loved painting with it. I do think that a lot of the colors look really good on this black surface. They look better when they're more concentrated and less watered down, which is not really that big of a surprise. So what we're gonna do is take one last look at these swatches and then dive into my test painting of a little fox. I had to do quite a bit of research to find out anything about these paints. I bought them pretty quickly. I'm going to talk about this later, but basically the minute that one of my beautiful subscribers suggested that I might enjoy these paints, I ran to Amazon and bought them. And I then started researching them as part of the unboxing and swatching session that I did earlier this week. And that's how I even knew that this was based on an illustrator who actually curated and created this set, and that it is really her aesthetic. When you look at her videos and you look at her Instagram, it makes a lot of sense why these are the colors that she picked. She is Korean, and these are Korean paints. They are extremely high quality. I love gouache, and I'm really getting into it. And I thought these worked beautifully. I liked using the dry brush technique for the water just to try to give the effect of sparkles on the water. And I really liked how they mixed beautifully. I loved how they got super creamy with just a little bit of water. And I am understanding from the information that I could find online that these are professional grade. I will be able to put the pigment information in the description for you, but I don't speak Korean, so there was a limit to how much I could learn about these paints. I personally plan to use these paints exclusively in my sketchbook, and so I make a painting like this, and then I take a high quality photo, and then I either post them online, or I can make prints, I can make stickers, but that's the extent. I'm not planning on selling anything I make from this paint in a final form. So I'm not worried about light fastness when something is just in my sketchbook and I'm taking a picture right away. If you are concerned about light fastness, if you're thinking about buying this for purposes of selling your art, I certainly can't, warranty anything having to do with these paints because I'm not a sponsored creator. I just found these and used them and enjoyed them and wanted to share them with you. But I would just recommend that you do your own research if that's something that you're considering. It's certainly not something that I'm planning to do. I love sketchbook work, if you haven't noticed, if you haven't figured that out yet, quite yet, from my million sketchbook sessions I've already posted. And I really like learning a new material. And this is an example. When I put this color down and it mixed with the darker blue, I went with it and I thought it gave this landmass in the distance a lot of nice depth. But, you know, I could see how if you were learning how to use a material on something you planned to make into a final piece and sell, that could be really stressful. So this is gouache. It does lift lower layers, which means if you are painting with a lot of water, you can lift up the layer below. And here I'm painting with blue underneath and sort of brownish orange on top. Those are opposite on the color wheel. If they lift and mix, it's going to make kind of a neutral color. Sometimes we call it mud, but certainly if it's not intentional, sometimes, you know, I love neutrals. I'm a big fan of neutrals, but I like to be in control of my neutrals and I like to pick them and lay down very specific colors that I'm choosing. I don't want it to be just an unintentional, oops, I wanted that to be blue and now it's mud. So that's something I've been working with, trying to be cautious of learning this new medium. But I think it's really cool how many artists are so inspired by gouache. I'm certainly loving it. I think it's such a cool medium to use on this kind of paper. This is 150 GSM, really thin, pure white paper from Alpha. It's from Stillman & Birn. It's the Alpha series from Stillman & Birn. And it really doesn't like scrubbing. It doesn't like when you try to lift things on the page, but it loves layering. It will let you layer up a storm. Like this thing will take 40 layers of everything that you can throw at it. It doesn't mind. So what I've been doing is I try to be really careful not to lay down a thin layer with a plan of being able to scrub it up by putting some water on it and rubbing it with my brush bristles to try to lift the mistake. Instead, I'm trying to lay down thicker layers and fix mistakes with an even thicker layer on top. It only happened once. I have to say, with how new I am to gouache as a medium, I'm really impressed with that. I would have thought that I would have had a lot more issues with that, especially because my number one medium I'm most comfortable with would be watercolor. And after that would be acrylic gouache or just matte acrylics in general. And those, once you let them dry, you can paint on top of them layer after layer after layer and fix any mistakes that way. But with gouache, you kind of have to be a little bit more delicate. So these paints were suggested to me by one of my beautiful, wonderful artist subscribers. And immediately, like within moments of seeing that suggestion, I ran over to the website and bought them. And I was nervous when I was waiting for them to come because I was like, oh, why am I so impulsive? Like I hear about a beautiful art supply I've never heard of and I'm so excited to try it. I just go online and grab it. You know what I mean? I just get it. I don't even think twice. And I had just bought a bunch of Windsor, Newton, and Holbein gouache and made a little 16 well palette with that. And I also did a test painting. I'll link that one below. I did 2 little guinea pig friends with some lettuce with those gouache paints. And I really loved it. I just love gouache. Like it's a really, really fun medium. And I had just bought all those paints and then I got the suggestion and I saw that the paints looked so different from the ones that I'd already picked. So I went out and got them. And when they came in the mail and I unboxed them, I was really excited. They looked beautiful. The quality seemed amazing. But when I really got down to swatching them, that's when I fell in love. I could barely contain myself to wait to do this painting because I knew I wanted to do a fox. When I saw the beautiful orange and red, I was like, ooh, I want to do a fox. It's going to be so much fun. And then I found this royalty-free reference photo and I was like, this is so cute. This little fox just sort of soaking up the sun with its little eyes closed right on the beach. And it looks kind of like a winter beach scene, like there's snow in the foreground. I hope that comes across. And I just could not wait to paint it, but I had to finish my swatching video from that ginormous art haul, massive art haul, which I, had this as part of that haul, these paints. I had to get that up first before I could even sit down to paint this. And that was a hard thing for me. I'm so used to being able to just sit down and paint every single day or draw every single day. And I've done so for, it'll be 2 years in March. And to have to sort of wait to be able to get down to a painting that looks really fun with a material that I just love, immediately fell in love with and couldn't wait to use. It was so hard. It was very reminiscent of, you know, the waiting for Christmas morning stories that you hear about little kids, you know, when they have to wait and they wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. That's how I felt about this painting. Like I could not wait to sit down and do this. And you'll see I even have different, I don't know if you'll notice, but I have different shirts on because this took a while to be able to do. I had to do it in pieces. I had to just run around and I got super cold and I put on this sweater and I put on that sweater. Don't ask why I didn't put on the heat. Not going to do it. Not putting on the heat until it's really, really, really necessary. If I'm not wearing a winter hat inside, it's not time to turn the heat on yet. And I wasn't at winter hat level, but I was at like, okay, this little pretty cardigan isn't going to do it. I need to put on my ugly, like a house sweater. So as I was sitting there just really enjoying putting this piece together and making it come alive, I was thinking about how much I've been loving my subscribers. Like I have such nice people subscribed. You guys don't know how much it means to me when you leave such positive feedback. You give me such amazing ideas that I immediately implement. Like this gouache set is one example of feedback from a beautiful, wonderful, sweet subscriber who said, hey, I see that you're really loving this gouache. Here's another thing you might love. And I do. I've gotten feedback on my Neocolor 2 video with that turtle, where people are giving me ideas for new techniques to try with that art material, and I cannot wait to try it, and I'm totally going to do it in another video. I even have been making, you know, friends with people who are subscribers. I've got a friend in Scotland, I got a friend in Australia now. You guys are so cool, you're so amazing, you're so inspiring, and when you do leave me comments like that and you engage, that's a huge reason I started this channel, was because I wanted to find my people. You know, I don't know anyone in my private life who's into art the way that I am, into materials the way that I am. And I went online to find my people, just like I found my husband online, you know, almost 15 years ago. And everyone thought we were crazy and that you could only find a serial killer if you went online, and instead we found our soulmates. So I really feel a version of that for you all, and I really appreciate that you come here and you enjoy what I enjoy, and you love to enjoy cute art like I do, and that you love art supplies like I do. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a comment, and I'll enjoy reading it. Until next time, create something cute.